Hey, what's up? I'm Brad.
I'm Neil.
I'm Barry.
I'm Adam. We are 3 Days Grace, and you're watching New Music Director. Your artist, your music, your link.
You left me here like a chalk outline on the sidewalk, waiting for the rain to wash away.
We spent 3 times as much time on this record, the concept of the record, than any album we've made in the past. Transit of Venus as a title, there's some metaphors to the fact that Venus and Earth are sort of sister planets, and the history of Venus is that scientists believe that it was much more like Earth than it is today, millions of years ago. But because of its proximity to the sun, it kind of dried up and became a dying rock, if you will, whereas Earth is this flourishing, wonderful place that we live on. The metaphor that one lives while the other one dies, taking a look at mortality, how much time we have on this planet, and what we're going to do with the time that we have. We always have sort of written about that and not taking things for granted and valuing relationships and trying to make things better when you can. That certainly is part of the big picture of this album. The lead-off track is called A Sign of the Times. I think it's a good representation of the direction we wanted to take, where songs don't follow a traditional format, arrangement, and structure. We wanted to be experimental, and I think that song really kind of sets the tone.
We've always written from a personal standpoint and from a real place. The songs on this record, they come from a real place as well. We still write from our hearts, and I think people recognize that.
There was a poem of Lunar, which was written during the Transit of Venus of 1882, that talks about watching this creeping little speck move across the sun and how, in a way, that's all we are as well. That can be a scary thought, but it can also be sort of a comforting thought. Sometimes you got to take a step back and realize that these things that we worry about, these little things that we're always sitting here stressing about, what do they really mean at the end of the day if all we are is a speck of dust? And I think sometimes that kind of gives you a peaceful feeling to just not fret the small stuff as much.
Chalk outline, it's basically kind of feeling betrayed by the closest people to you and kind of feeling like you've been left behind.
Anonymous, I think I can speak on behalf of the band that it's a really special song to us. The content of the song represents where our heads were at and what the record as a whole represents. The lyrics of the chorus are, we get by in a world with no conscience by shutting it out and being anonymous. And it's it's just sort of about how people just kind of stay in obscurity and be anonymous and not really go out and stand for something when you see a lot of problems in the world that you would love to make change and to help, but it's hard when everybody kind of just wants to remain anonymous and not come together and really be proactive about making a big change.
To me, rock music right now feels like the late 80s, where there's a lot of bands that all sound the same, trying to do the same thing. A lot of big bands forget what rock and roll is, and that it's honest and real, and I think that's a problem, really.
People are looking for something real now more than ever, being bombarded with so many contrived ideas.
The first record shaped us, helped with our evolution. 1X somewhat shaped the band. Life Starts Now, the last record, it was an evolution for us and another step forward and looking at what we are as a band. The new record, Transit of Venus, I think is, in my opinion, it tops them all, and I think we really pushed ourselves on this record. Give me a reason. We didn't really have a structure for the song.
When we first went into the studio and recorded it, that was the first take. So here we kind of went with that arrangement. I think we were calling out stuff as we're playing the song.
I think if you listen close to that song, you can hear us calling out arrangements and parts. It was just off the cuff, which is cool. And then we listened to it, and we actually tried. We were like, okay, let's go back and do it now that we know the arrangement. And we tried it. And we were like, it doesn't have the same vibe as just when we were just going off.
We get out on the road and we tour and we play and we connect with our fans. And that from the beginning has been the foundation for this band, as well as the honesty in our writing that people relate to. Be out on the road for months at a time, and you spend 22.5 hours of the day in the bus or in the dressing room, and then you spend an hour and a half on stage out of that 24-hour period, and that's why we do it. Happiness, it's a song about the vices that you use in life to get by every single day and trying to kind of fight those and have to not.
We've had a history of self-medicating over the years, and it's something that we've dealt with and continue to deal with, stuff like that. That song represents, that it's not easy to find other ways to escape other than that. We make a point of meeting as many fans as we can before or after the show. And when you hear things like, this song changed my life, I was in a dark place and this shone a little bit of light on my problems. That's what it's all about. I think that's a really powerful thing, and we're fortunate to be in a position where we can do that.
I'm Brad.
I'm Neil.
I'm Barry.
I'm Adam. We are 3 Days Grace, and we are your new music directors. Your artists, your music, your link.